Oh, are live? Are we live now?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Alright, so... Hello everyone, welcome to the final run of Indiethon. This is Fables The Everlasting Sapling, an indie RPG that's very inspired by the first two installments in the Paper Mario series. My name is Jankmo, or you can call me Jank for short, and with me is my commentator, Cyan.
Hello, hello.
Yep. So this is an any % glitchless run, so we're going to be going through the game without completely breaking it, so we're basically just going to go through the entire story. We'll explain more about it as we start the run here. In 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, so this is a glitchless run, but there are a couple exploits that we are going to be using that take advantage of the game's mechanics that we allow in the run.
I'd say the best way to describe this run is more or less intended.
Yep. So we kind of just got our little opening story here, telling us about the fabled everlasting sapling, which is kind of like a plant that is supposed to grant immortality to any bug that eats one of its leaves. And we get introduced to our first two characters, Kabu and V. And we kind of want to become explorers, so we get tested by Maki here. So...
And Maki's test is putting us into a fight, which is our tutorial battle. And to prove that we are absolutely the best explorers that could ever be, we are going to fail every attack in this fight.
Wow, we took damage. We're failing attacks, we're taking damage. Oh yeah, we're also going to use an item here. Because we don't want to be damaged, right?
We do get full healed after this fight, but the item actually just saves a bit of time, and we need to empty out our inventory, so might as well use it now.
Yep. Alright, so we just passed the test, so that means we're good, right? So let's go to, like, one of the most dangerous dungeons known to Bugkind right now, apparently. But before we take our leave, we're going to talk to Artis here to get the hard mode medal.
So you may be thinking, why did we just get the hard mode medal? Isn't this, like, for going fast, shouldn't we make the game easier on ourselves? And while you may think that, there's definitely some interesting properties with what we can do with the hard mode medal, and we'll get into those a bit later on. It's used in 2 different fights in Chapter 2.
Yep.
So
yeah, it makes enemies stronger in exchange for more rewards, but it actually makes one of the fights actually easier. And we also utilize the 2 hard mode rewards we get for beating those bosses in hard mode. So here we get introduced to field abilities, so Kabu can... Nice berry drop as well. So Kabu can cut bushes with his horn. I guess I'll get that. No clue if that's worth it, but let's put a bit out of the way. And so we can cut down bushes and maybe get random berry drops, but we can also get items. So it kind of acts like Mario's hammer in a way. So here is the entrance to Snakemouth Den.
also, just to mention, berries are our currency in this game. You'll see them pop up in the bottom right when we collect any.
And we're going to get our first crystal berry, which we are going to be using later, similar to star pieces. So here we're going to do our first trick, where we do a pretty tight jump around this pole.
And by doing that, we skip a cutscene trigger.
Yep, so this cutscene trigger event would teach us that V can throw her beamerang to hit objects from afar. We kind of already knew how to do that. Failing bridge jump. It is possible to jump on the bridge from there, but it's quite quite tricky. Here we're gonna do something called an ability jump. A delayed ability jump, rather.
Right, I'll go on to explaining those. So, in this game, we have the ability, I guess that's a double pun right there, but our B button is linked to our ability. And we can kind of buffer it, so if we quickly tap from B to A, we can buffer it in a way where we'll actually do the ability when in the air. We'll see that a lot in Chapter 2, but it's really throughout the run. There's also a delayed ability jump, which is a bit harder, and basically you have to hold down both B and A, and the ability will come out later, like while you're mid-jump.
Yep, so we just got a mushroom that, you actually can't grab that mushroom with the beamering. It's a trap that you're supposed to fall into.
Also, yes, to point out the pun that is obviously there, because V is a B, it's a beamering instead of a boomerang.
Yep. Alright, so there is a moth that appears to be alive, but he's trapped in a web. And oh gosh, it's a spider.
Kind of expected when you find a web just lying around.
And V is a coward and runs away, so we have to fight this thing as just Kabu, but we can't actually damage it. So we're just gonna do nothing for a couple turns.
This is truly how to fight this thing. We just do nothing.
And after a second turn, it's gonna go in the air, and Kabu realizes that he can't reach that far. And the battle just ends like that. So it looks like it's over for Kabu, but V saves the day, and we're gonna come up with a plan to attack the web until it breaks, and then flee from the spider with the moth.
So, one thing about this web is that it actually has 9 HP, so the character in front does 3 damage, whereas any character behind does 2 damage. So we can actually fail one of the attacks here, because we would have 10 damage to deal, but we can fail one. So we get a nice little Kabu failed animation,
yep,
which looks really funny.
Yeah, so the character in front has 1 extra attack, but in exchange, they get targeted more. So they get targeted more often.
Which is actually faster, because if an enemy were to melee attack you, they would have to walk less to attack the person in front, or to attack the player in front.
Alright, so this moth that we rescued is named Leaf, and he speaks in like a really weird language. And, he's gonna cup, you know, so he doesn't really have any battle prowess yet, but maybe that won't apply in a couple seconds here. So I'm gonna do something interesting here. I'm gonna hit the switch and fall in the water to respawn as the cutscene plays out. And that allows us to go back here and save a little bit of time. We're also going to get this medal, BHP plus medal, which we're going to be using mostly for safety, but it is actually mandatory in one fight in Chapter 2. And also there's, yeah, that mushroom is alive, but we learned that Leaf has ice powers, apparently. And we also learn a cool thing called turn relay, where one character can give up their turn to another.
This also adds in a new mechanic called exhaustion, where any bug that attacks, when they attack again, they do 1 less damage. However, you may see here that Leaf's Icefall ability just did 3 and 3, which completely contradicted everything I was just saying. So, frozen enemies do take 1 extra damage. So, thus, we get 3 and 3, which absolutely doesn't make sense when you first hear about exhaustion.
Also, it's worth noting that those jelly shrooms take 1 extra damage from Leaf's Ice Fall because they're fungus-based enemies, which are weak to ice. I barely made that cycle, by the way. Alright, so there's quite a bit of platforming, and also a sort of random element here of these geysers, which you freeze and use as platforms, but their cycles are pretty much different every time you load the room. Alright, pretty tricky jump here, and we got it. I'm gonna do an HP plus equip here for safety. Okay. So that is the first switch that we have to hit on the left side, and the other switch that we have to hit will be on the right side. So here I'm actually going to be hitting the save crystal. Yellow save crystals fully restore everyone's HP and TP. We hit that, in this case, to restore TP, and if we hit it from far enough, like with the Beamerang, it won't actually give us the save prompt. So this is the right side of Snake Mouth. Nice jump, by the way. Oh no.
Oh gosh.
What am I doing? Oh my god. Alright, I'm just gonna get on the bridge and hit it with a Beamerang. This has never happened before. And I'm kind of thrown off a little bit. Okay,
yeah, that happens with that bridge sometimes. You're supposed to be able to buffer the turn back, so that way that you can hop onto it as it's turning back, but it can be a little weird sometimes.
Yep. I've never, like, fallen off like that, so I'm just like, okay, what do I do here? Yeah, so we hit the second switch, and that unlocks the big door here. Which, because this is a glitchless run, but in glitch runs, we can actually use that jelly shroom on the left to do, like, a weird clip.
And yeah, you just kind of go through the side of the wall.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is the now we are in the treasure room, and here is the artifact that we were set out to get. And so what's worth noting that I'm actually playing in the English version here, but it's actually faster to play in the Japanese version because that text scrolls character by character, and Japanese text has less characters. Also, this is another trap. Oh, not that spider.
Is getting a bunch of water poured into it, and in this situation where it's probably gonna flood, and who knows what's gonna happen to these bugs that are just in the middle of like a cavern with water, what are we going to do? We're going to fight this spider.
Suddenly we can damage it. Apparently because we're just stronger, even though we're the same level as we were before. So we're just gonna hit him a couple times. The first 3 turns are basically just normal attacking him to get him into the second phase, where he'll summon 2 enemies. The friends who call him Spider with a U. Don't call him that, though.
Yeah, this soundtrack is absolutely a bop.
Oh, funny mashing. Okay,
oh, yes. Let's talk about double mashing. So that bar filled up pretty quick. And the reason why is because there's a mashing cap where you can only press A like a specific amount of times before the game is just like, yeah, we're not going to accept any more inputs. But if you mash on both keyboard and controller at the same time, it breaks that cap. So we can get bars that are twice the speed as they really should be.
Got kind of unlucky there. If we freeze him on the first or third ice fall, we could actually end the fight a turn earlier by using the special skill Tornado Toss. But we got no freezes, which is like the worst thing that can happen. Or that's like, so we got a little bit unlucky there. But yeah, we are done with the first chapter. With the artifact intact, but I mean, we kind of forgot that there's a flood going on.
Yeah, we just took like 2 minutes to fight that spider, and then the flood kicks in.
What are the odds? But I mean, we're alright. Except, where's the artifact?
It's just off screen.
Yep. Okay, so here I'm going to cut this bush down to get a spicy berry. We're gonna get a couple of those. We're gonna get a couple of those items. That item, you can use it on someone and it raises their attack by 1 for 2 turns. And so now we've returned with the artifact, which they didn't think would happen. They thought we were crazy for going into Snake Mouth, and they completely thought we would just be done for.
So, because we conquered the Snake Mouth Den, we are named Team Snake Mouth.
Yep. And also, we are allowed to have 3 bugs on our team, even though normally exploration teams can only have 2. Alright, so we gotta take note of characters that we have in front. Like, when we enter cutscenes, here, for like these 2, we entered with V, but now we're gonna switch to Leaf. To enter the next 2 cutscenes as Leaf, because we want the character who's going to be closest to where we want to go next in front, entering cutscenes.
Sometimes, not always, actually. There's one specific instance in Chapter 2 where we put V in front because the characters walk towards the person in the middle fastest. And that's like the only situation where the positions just line up in a way where it's faster for them to walk to the bug in the middle.
Yeah, and also midway through Chapter 3 we'll get an ability that pretty much makes it so that we don't really... it's actually like... we don't really care who's in front. Because it's actually slower to put that character in front at that point. Okay, so we were sent off on our next mission, which is to go to the Golden Settlement.
Golden Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Golden Settlement.
And also check some paintings for some discoveries that we're going to turn in right now, actually. So this is Chapter 2. This is a very big reset point for pretty much almost anyone, especially if you're going for world record attempts.
Yeah, there's a lot of RNG here.
Yeah, run-killing RNG for that matter. So we're going to turn in these discoveries for 20 berries. Because we actually need a lot of berries early on. And we're going to get another discovery here by talking to the ant in front of this bridge.
Which shows that this entire palace is actually just an anthill.
Yep. And next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to this butterfly to take on some quests.
And Leaf is hungry, because, you know, after being trapped in a web for who knows how many years, he kind of needs some food.
Yep. But first we're going to go this way and get on top of this building, because there is an item that we want, also berry drop. There's an item that we want called a bad book, and we'll get into what that's going to be used for next chapter. And so,
definitely. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, here
that's definitely one of my favorite side quests.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty funny dialogue in that side quest. And here we're going to cook our mushroom to fully heal us before we set out on our adventure toward the Golden Hills and the Golden Settlement.
There's also a bunch of different dialogue for that cutscene based on what you cook there.
Oh yeah. So here we're gonna buy 3 spicy berries and 2 burly berries.
So we went over spicy berries earlier, but burly berries are basically the exact same thing, except they boost a character's defense for 2 turns instead of boosting a character's attack for 2 turns.
Yeah.
And that may seem interesting. Why would we need defense strats in a speedrun? And the simple answer is we don't. We'll go into that later.
Okay, so this is our first encounter of the wasps, who are implied to be the antagonists of this game, because, I mean, wasps are jerks. This ice falls at 50% to freeze, and we didn't get it. Nice. Freezes are patched, apparently. Alright, we can still 2-turn this fight, but if we did get the freeze, we would actually skip having to do an extra attack here.
One thing to note, this is the first enemy we come across that has defense. So Leaf's attack only does 1, and Tornado Toss normally starts at 2. It starts at 1 under the attack, but it actually started at 1 here because of the defense. However, Kabu pierces 1 point of defense, so he still does 2 damage, no problem.
Yep. So defense works how you think it does for now.
That's definitely one way to describe it.
What are these berry drops? I've gotten 3.
Wow.
Alright, so we actually have to farm. We're gonna have to do some berry farming here until we get 9 berries, but because I got a bunch of berry drops early on, I don't actually have to farm as many berries as I need to. I just need 1 berry here.
I'd hardly call 1 berry farming, but that is definitely true.
Yep, so it's gonna do a little bit of platforming here. But we're gonna have to be a little bit careful here. This seedling is a big killer of runs if you encounter it, so we definitely do not want that to happen. You want to explain how encounters work?
Ah, yes. Well, just in general, if you get into an encounter, you would have to flee from it, and that would lose a lot of berries.
Yeah, and we need 9 berries entering this. So, because we already did our berry farm, if we encounter that seedling, it would be very hard to recover. So apparently... So, Golden Hills is actually past the statue in front of the Acolyte Aria here. But apparently the goddess Venus that the people here worship only lets people who she considers like worthy to pass. Also, I'm gonna save here because this is a big run killing portion of the run.
Yeah, one misinput here will just kill your run.
We're doing some cooking here.
Alright, so while Jank does some pretty fast inputs that you probably won't be able to see unless you like slow down and look at this frame by frame, and even then, the pointer kind of just goes off the list. Let's explain what we're cooking. So we cooked 2 of our burly berries with 2 of the hard seeds that we just bought, and we turned them into burly bombs, which instead of boosting one of your bugs' attack, or boosting one of your bugs' defense, now we can throw it at enemies and it lowers their defense. And we got 2 of those, and we also cooked a spicy bomb with one of our spicy berries. And then we cooked a glazed honey, which is just cooking a honey drop. But then we cooked it again to make an Obama honey, which kind of sounds a bit weird, but we then cooked that with the spicy bomb to create an abomination, which has the bomb pun as well because we mixed it with bomb. And we'll be using that on a later fight.
Yup. Yeah, that item is pretty powerful. It does 10 damage to everyone, including yourself.
And as long as we can survive that, if it kills enemies, we still win the fight.
Problem is, though, the person who has the bug who has the most max HP with us right now is Kabu, who has only 9. So how could we possibly live that?
I sense a callback to HP Plus.
So we just did the we just participated in the eating contest, and
which is just mashing.
Yeah, we just mashed. So, and also we have to be careful. We have to remember to grab this medal here, the weak stomach medal.
Now that medal, you can't exactly read it because the text goes so fast, but what it does is it poisons any bug that has it equipped and consumes a healing item. It may sound pretty bad right now, but it becomes very strong later in the run.
Yep. So this is Whack-A-Worm.
Yes. This is just like the equivalent of Whack-A-Mole, but it's with worms in the Beamerang.
Yep.
And we can just kind of stay here as long as we get 15.
Yeah, so, yeah, reminder to hydrate everyone. Fun fact, like, I'm standing here right now, and last month I ran this at GDQ Hotfix, and they had, like, a little replay feature, and they replayed me standing still, like, like this. They just replayed me. Standing still for, like, 10 seconds. It was pretty funny.
Don't worry, this is the only break you will have in this run.
Yup. So we come across a bee scientist here who recognizes the Beamerang that V was using. And initially, like, accuses her of stealing it, but she decides to upgrade it, for science. And apparently this upgrade allows us to hold it in place, even though, like, this isn't how physics work.
Yeah, Leaf even specifically says that's impossible.
So after getting another Crystal Berry, we are going to approach Arya with the 2 offerings that we have now. And apparently now we have to fight her, but only with 2 of our party members. So we fight her with V and Kabu here.
There's actually an alternate route of this early to mid game, where instead of fighting with V and Kabu, we fight with Kabu and V, and it's rather interesting, the different strategies that can be developed, but overall it's either about the same or it loses time.
Yep. Yeah, it makes us fight significantly slower, but it gets extra XP in exchange.
Yeah, and it allows for some safer strats on some of these upcoming bosses, which does help because we did mention they were run killers.
Yep.
Anyways, Arya gave us defense up here, so we have to do 2 hurricane tosses instead of normally being able to just attack on the second hurricane toss instead.
Yep. Hurricane toss is kind of like tornado toss, except it actually pierces 1 point of defense. And yeah, we're about to see an interesting behavior with attacks that pierce 1 point of defense, like these hurricane toss or Kabu's basic attack. But before that, we are going to have to go through this next dungeon, Lower Golden, which is probably one of the hardest dungeons platforming-wise. There's a lot of tricky platforming here.
So, V, immediately when entering this dungeon, Venus sends one of her buds down, and is like, why are you guys here? And V goes, to take your treasure! And obviously a goddess would not take very well to greed, so in exchange, all of these fly traps are mentioned, and
that was the most annoying position that Chopper could have possibly been in. Alright, so we don't normally do this fight, but if it manages to get us, we just do it anyway. Because it still gives us the same amount of experience. We basically just want to get a level up here.
Yeah, we need to take one optional encounter, so either this Chomper likes to be rude and encounter us sometimes, or we can get a one later on.
Yeah, this fight is actually slower, but if it encounters you, you might as well fight it. Alright, so rank ups! Good way to kill the run.
Yep. I killed a run recently to this. Can confirm. Basically, if you drop an input and don't choose the right, the right stat to level up, it's just game over to your run.
Yeah, part of why I'm doing saves, or part of why I'm saving. Also, this room is interesting. I'll try to do a very, very difficult strat here.
I'll explain this. This is Leaf Strat. So, it's called this because it relies a bunch on Leaf's freezes and the dealing with hitboxes when enemies fall, along with a bunch of coyote jumps. Just some fun things in general to respawn you at the start of this room, and it is done first try by Jones.
Yup. Yeah, so it combines, like, buffered ability jumps. Oh, scary. It combines buffered ability jumps with dodging of respawn triggers. And it saves a lot of time. It can save up to 16 seconds. But it is very hard. Also, in this room, this room actually has the Chomper encounter we normally would take. But because we encountered that Chomper earlier, we fought that one instead. So we are going to avoid this Chomper.
I just want to mention that Jank is 2 for 2 on Leaf Strat when it's like probably one of the hardest parts of the run. 2 for 2 on marathon runs.
Okay, we're going to get this Magic Seed here, which we normally wouldn't get for world record attempts, but I'm getting it for safety.
I'm just more scared of that Acorn Link.
Yeah, that was kind of sketchy.
Also, over in that previous room, right by that Acorn Link, is a strat known as MSJ for Magic Seed Jump. It's another delayed ability jump at an angle to spin the crank to move that platform in a way.
I have to be careful here, because...
Yeah.
So, want to explain the issue with the new patch?
Blocks?
Yep.
Yes, okay. So, the most recent patch of this game broke one of the failsafes that deals with entering cutscenes. Ooh, that's not good. Normally those do freeze most of the time. But it broke one of the failsafes for cutscenes, so now we have to worry about entering some cutscenes, some specific cutscenes where there's not too much ground, and it can and will soft lock you if you go too fast.
Alright, so this is where we're going to be equipping hard mode, and also HP plus on Kabu.
And after this room of platform, we're going to go to our next mini-boss. If we don't fall, that is.
If we don't fall, this section is, like, I struggle with this section a lot for some reason. There's, like, a really tight cycle with this bridge, but, like, it's so scary. And, like, it looks like you're gonna miss it every time. I really don't like it. But we're gonna get this.
And also, the camera zooming out does not help.
Yeah, they're gonna get a crystal berry, and we're also going to heal. And upcoming is a very technical fight, but luckily I have a chart with me.
Also, yes, you did hear that correctly. We actually have charts for some of the more complicated fights, where it shows all the different paths we can go down depending on the different RNGs we get. I absolutely love this community.
Yup.
So because Zask froze there, we actually go down.
I got the troll attack.
As Zask freeze, and
okay, I wasn't sure what I was doing here. Okay, so we have to do a little bit of backups because Kabu took damage. Or didn't, what? Oh no, I secret stash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I don't have to heal him here. But thanks to the HP plus, Kabu has just enough HP to survive the abomination. So these are kind of, sort of our rivals, I guess. Zasp and Matava. We kind of just...
It's more that they just pick fights on us because we're popular and we're trying to get the artifacts and they want them first.
They want the fame. But they were no match for our very powerful honey bomb. Okay, so this is Upper Golden. We gotta be careful. We have to feed these fly traps the offerings, but you have to be extremely careful here. If you miss menu and feed them the wrong thing, you have to fight a Venus Bud. And not only does that lose a lot of time, but it also throws off your XP route. I'm also gonna save here, because this... mostly for the heal, but this area is kind of spooky because you're running around with 1 HP, and there's a Chomper here that can first strike you, so it's actually very possible to die here. So I'm gonna take that save.
And also, the Acornling can encounter you as well.
Yeah, this is one of the many rooms that we call curse rooms throughout the run. Alright, I'm gonna try a respawn try here. Why are you there? Oh my god, yeah, that Acornling is a troll. I might encounter him again, actually, because enemies cheat. Okay, thank god. Like, if you put an item... if you insert that crank, all of your iframes are gone, so that Acornling pretty much cheats, because it can react faster than you do.
Yeah, that's very true. I've seen people get, like, 4 encounters on that Acornling. For reference, I am people.
Okay. Never save here because here's another place that you can soft block, and I actually lost my first run of this. And we're about to enter Cyan's favorite boss.
Yes. Let's talk about Venus Guardian. So, this is where all of our foreshadowing of defense comes to fruition. We're going to use one of the Burly Bombs, and we're going to buff Kabu's attack. And you're going to notice that the damage calculation is a little off, because by bringing down defense, and then using a defense piercing attack, we actually get more attack than we should. So we do 1 extra damage, basically.
Oh, he get defense up though.
So yeah, now if he gets defense up, now he has 2 defense, and we only have 1 way of piercing, so luckily not too bad. It just means that we need to have all of our characters survive this fight. Normally we can have 1 die on the last turn.
Yeah.
So there goes the Burly Bomb, and this Hurricane Toss is going to do a lot more damage than it should. I guess more specifically the next one.
That was scary, alright. And this Hurricane Toss is also going to do a lot more damage, because for some reason, when Vigu is in the air on hard mode, it takes 1 extra damage. Or like, it has reduced defense for something, it's weird.
It's also just innately weak to Hurricane Toss, which is like the only boss to have that.
Yeah. So this is the other boss that we do in hard mode. It actually has less HP on hard mode in exchange for having 1 defense. But because we use defense piercing attacks, we don't really care. Apparently the extra damage Hurricane Toss was intentional. Yeah. Here is our second artifact. Alright, so... It's nice that we got through Venus Guardian first try. That boss can give you... There are some patterns that boss can give you that are actually unwinnable. So it's kind of a scary boss. Like, in particular, one of my favorite clips of my channel that I have is when Venus Guardian had raised attacks, and it hit V with 4 hard seeds.
And even if all those are perfect blocked, it does 8 damage, and we put HP plus on V, so she would have 9 health. So you then have to go through the next few turns with V at 1 health, and in the front, which means that it's a higher chance that she'll get targeted.
Yeah.
Lovely boss.
Yeah. You don't want V to die in that fight. Alright.
Also, since the turns of that boss are so scripted, it's very hard to back up just about anything there.
Yeah. Alright, so let's find out where the next artifact is. Is apparently in the Bee Kingdom's honey factory. Which V is from, but she doesn't really have a particularly good relationship with her people. So she's kind of unhappy to have to come back there.
This chapter is also where the movement starts to completely open up in this game.
Yeah. This is also the longest chapter in the run, and arguably the one with the most RNG. So we're gonna give Reeves here the first bad book to get a... what am I doing? Wrong chapter. But yeah, before we actually go to the Bee Kingdom, we're gonna take care of a little side quest here. This is actually an optional side quest that we're gonna be taking on, but the rewards for it are so powerful that it's actually worth taking a couple minutes of the run to take it on. We're basically gonna be fighting an optional boss. It's actually pretty challenging. And it can also kill rooms.
So here we're talking to Levi and Celia, and this is part of the side quest that we're doing, and it's about how there's someone posting fake requests on the side quest board and then using them to lure explorers into their dungeon, where they're basically like we don't know what happens to them, but they have to come back.
Yep, so we're gonna buy 3 more spicy berries, and now we are going to turn in our hard mode rewards from beating both Sassumathiva and Venus Guardian on hard mode. And we're immediately gonna take use of one of them, and also remembering to unequip hard mode along the way.
Yes, and actually, in the official route, it is mentioned twice in big letters to unequip hard mode, because this next fight is definitely really tough on hard mode.
There's also experience.
Yeah, and also experience.
So we're not going to be using hard mode for the rest of the run. So what we equipped is a medal called Spiky Bod, which, when an enemy attacks Kabu with a directly, and you block it, they take 1 damage. Which can help on this boss, because this boss, when he attacks you, or most of his attacks except one of them heal him. And it is actually important that we don't let him heal too much, because if he heals too much, the fight will go on for a couple extra turns. Like maybe 1 or 2. Okay, he healed 1 there.
Overall, he can't heal more than 4.
Yeah. That's the attack you want to see, though, because he doesn't actually heal anything. So he still has healed 1. But there is one attack in particular you do not want to see, because it attacks everyone.
And it heals a lot.
So he healed 1, then he healed 3, but also took 1.
So you can miss
So I can,
one tornado toss
I should be able to miss 1. Yeah. It's a little thing, but counting how much he heals can help you optimize the fight. Because if he heals 2 or less, he can actually just do a regular attack. Oh yeah, for defeating Scarlet, we're gonna gain access to a pretty shady place. That V was actually, like, V used to, like, visit it until she was kicked out of it.
And this place that we're going to visit right now is also where V acquired her Beamerang.
Yeah, and it's also where we're going to be using the crystal berries that we've been collecting throughout our journey. But before that, we are going to... One of the quests that we took on is to leave a review for this inn. But I mean, we're trying to go fast here. So we're just going to take the free stay, take the honey drop that they leave behind, and just leave.
Yeah, they try to bribe us with the free inn. Normally, it's not free, and it's like 9 berries, 3 per bug. But you know.
Also, reroll game coming up.
Yeah, we play this fun reroll game in chat where we try to guess how many rerolls this medal that's going to appear in the shady shop.
So it's not here, so I'm gonna have to reroll it. So in that case, it was 1.
Not the correct answer.
Yeah, in that case, it was 1. Okay, so we got the Poison Attacker medal, which, on the bug that it's equipped, if they are poisoned, their attack goes up by 1. So that may or may not have synergy with the Weak Stomach medal that we got in Chapter 2. For some reason, like in this game, poison is like a really broken strategy.
Yeah. Throughout this run, you're really going to see this build come together.
And also,
like right now,
yeah, we're about to go fast.
Yeah. We're about to find the best ability, at least for speedrunners.
I mean, I like it for casual play too.
Yes, true.
Yeah, the 1.1 patch kind of introduced a lot of quality of life changes, and this is kind of one of them. So we kind of just like, it would be nice if we could go faster, and Kabu's like, you know what, I can dash. Let's go. So this dash is really fast, but it's also really hard to control.
2.5 times your initial movement speed.
But there's actually a lot of really... What I like about this dash is there's a lot of really cool movement strats you can do with it. Like that one right there. And also, this upcoming fight has a very precise ice fall that we have to hit. So we get ambushed by a wasp and some criminals. A thief and a burglar. Oh my god, I missed it. I've been missing that ice fall in marathons. It's unfortunate.
So now, we have to back this up by hitting the same ice ball, but without the visual cue of the middle enemy.
Yeah, also, I kind of want to prioritize killing this wasp, because he can summon an enemy, and that will mess with the XP route, in addition to costing a lot of time. And of course I hit the one without the visual cue. I don't know why I'm better at that one. Alright, this should kill him. Alright, cool. Alright, that fight could go a lot better. It is possible to hit all 3 of them with that ice fall, but it's very tough. I can hit... Funny, I've run this is the second marathon I've run this game at, and I've missed this ice fall in both of them, but I've got Leaf Shroud on both of them. Alright, so there's gonna be some movement here towards the Bee Kingdom. And we have kind of a little bit of a conversation with V. Because she's kind of grumpy about... Because apparently, like, in this world, bees are supposed to be, like, painters rather than explorers, so... Apparently, for her people, the idea of her becoming an explorer bee was kind of alien to them. But... V was just like, you know, let's just be an explorer. So we just got scanned for impurities, and the scanner picked up something weird from one of us. There seems to be something weird with Leaf. Alright, so... You know, this doctor gets like really close to him, and asks to dissect him, but honestly, we don't have time for that. Let's do dissection skip. So now we have to actually gather all of the other explorers with us, like these two generic and NPCs. Their names are literally Jen and Airy.
Yeah, and there's two other NPCs called Sen and Pisky, so if you combine them all, it literally just creates generic NPC.
Yep. Alright, so there's not really much going on in the next like minute or so, Does a host have anything to say? Alright, so this is the Bee Queen. Who, even though, like, the way V seemed to talk about her people, like, she seemed to talk, like, kind of or she was kind of, like, talking pretty negatively about them, but her queen actually seems, like, very graceful. So now we are going to enter the honey factory, which is where the third artifact is located. Alright, so they kind of want to give us a tour, but the factory enters a lockdown. It's a code 32.
So this nice little tour to the factory turns into, let's figure out how to get ourselves out of this locked dungeon where we can't even leave the place. So luckily there is a shop in here casually, so you can still stock up on stuff if you're not the most well prepared.
Yeah, you actually, like, casually, you actually can't, when you enter this dungeon the first time, you cannot leave until you beat the chapter. And also, we get a new ability called Bubble Shield, which allows us to basically go through these electric platforms unharmed, and we can also, like, hit enemies with them, and, like, make them bounce off of it. That was really weird. I don't know what the cycle is now. Oh my god. I even missed the switch. Alright, so that room could go a lot better. But... I actually tried to do like a new strat that was discovered here. I kind of failed it. There's another like respawn strat you can do.
Yeah, you're able to manipulate your respawn in a way where you can like fall off and just be able to respawn at like the start of the room.
Yep.
Saves a bit of time backtracking.
Also, this is a really wacky new trick that was discovered. It's not a glitch. We don't consider it a glitch.
Yeah, it's an exploit with about 3 quotes around it.
Yeah, it basically, for some reason, the hitbox of that crank is just like, it's slightly outside of the wall. Also, we're about to enter our next curse room. So most of the curse rooms in the run, or most of the rooms that we call curse rooms, have ice block puzzles that also involve freezing enemies. So this Jankmo in particular can be kind of trollish sometimes.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite / least favorite parts about it is that sometimes he can just kind of like pop open and unfreeze without shaking to give you the visual indication that he's going to unfreeze.
Yeah. Also, getting an encounter here hurts. We want to have at least 16 berries throughout this chapter. If you don't, like, it's not going to kill your run or anything, but it is a huge time loss.
That dash is possible, it's just really weird sometimes.
Yeah. So, we run into Generi, and we have to save them from these bee-boops. Oh, nice. That was okay RNG. This fight is very RNG dependent.
We get our next rank up here.
Yep. This is our first MP rank up. And so now, to help us, they'll actually operate the switch, which moves these platforms. And this is actually the only instance of the run where we have to use the tattle button.
Also, one of the interestingly coded things about this game is that we cannot use the tattle button while doing Leaf's bubble shield, so if you press that tattle button while bubble shielding, it will literally just cancel your bubble shield, so make sure to do it when the platforms aren't yellow.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're going to be looking at a huge time loss.
Also, we didn't mention this, but when you're using Leaf's bubble shield, you move at half the speed. So, you kind of want to optimize using it as little as possible. Also, there's these, Obama Honeys. Which is another sort of interesting, like, RNG sort of fight. Which is dependent on, like, freezing them.
That's considered pretty good.
Yeah. Alright, so that was actually pretty good. So, the bee that we just rescued from these Obama Honeys is Malby, who will allow us to access the storage area of the honey factory. So what we're trying to do, during this lockdown is we want to try to... We're trying to find the Overseer, who's somewhere in the honey factory, because she's the only person who is able to access the factory's core. But she is somewhere down in the area we're going to right now.
Basement.
Yeah.
Also, a nice little dynamic music swap here. It just changes in the tracks at the same time, and they're made in a way so that you can instantly and seamlessly transition between them.
Alright,
I love the sound design of this game.
This is what we need berries for. So after we beat Venus, apparently, like, now she wants to help us, and we can pay her buds 8 berries for a full heal.
Which we're going to use twice, which is why we needed 16, as Jake said earlier.
Oh, so here's one of the things that we call cool kid strats. Yeah, if you don't have enough berries to heal with the Venus Bud, you'll have to use the bed, which is at the start of the factory, which is free, but it's very slow. So this is the Honey Nation, which is like a giant...
A giant blob of angry honey.
Yeah.
Community joke time. I guess we can take a tangent on this. So, at one point, the record holder for this category, 90% glitchless, which is Corellius. You may have seen him in chat at this point. Was talking about how this boss is definitely pretty funny in that he can heal, do some spawns, and create a large amount of time loss, which is kind of what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
But is going a little off the rails.
I think we're fine, though.
So, we started calling the boss a funny mission, which then proceeded with me making an edit where I just put the laughing crying emoji on top of this blob of honey because it almost looks like an emoji. And thus, a funny nation was created. It's
also like a newly added emo to the Bug Fables speedrunning Discord server.
Which, if you are interested in running Bug Fables, please join.
Yeah, we got a pretty small community, but it's a very welcoming community, and this is actually a very easy speed game to learn. There's a very beginner-friendly guide. And it actually isn't too much slower than the world record route. Alright, so this is the Overseer, who we have to rescue from all these Obama honeys. So we have to we basically just protect her using Leaf's Bubble Shield. If you get caught by one of the Obama honeys, you will have to start over, but we got through no problem. And entering the, so this next boss we are about to fight is RNG in that it can summon a Bee-Boop. And if it does that, we lose a lot of time, and it also throws off our experience route for the next couple fights.
Overall, it's about a 30-second time loss.
Yeah. Alright, so here is the next artifact. It's actually powering the factory's core.
But we have a replacement.
Yeah.
So it's fine. But since it's a code 32, and the factory's in lockdown, we just have this massive robot that just kind of swoops in through the wall to protect. So we have to get into a fight.
Alright, let's see if it's... Alright. So it's not going to summon it on the first turn. It can still summon it on this next turn. So we're
Also,
basically just, yeah.
This is definitely one of the really good boss themes of this game.
Yeah. Alright, we didn't get a B-boot.
Nice.
Yeah, this song also has an epic name. This song also has a really epic name called Epic, or like, what is it? Mecha Bee Destroyer Blast Lord.
Yes. I don't think we've seen a B-boop spawn in a marathon run.
Alright.
Which is definitely good.
It's bound to happen eventually, though.
Need to add this to the playlist? I agree.
There's a lot of songs you could probably add to the playlist, because a lot of the music in this game is really good. Shoutouts to Tristan Ulrich.
The composer of this game, yes.
Yeah. Also, wait, no, give it to... Yeah, because apparently Mothabo just wants to take all the credit for the hard work of us. Like, yeah. We basically just defeat, like, the big robot. And they're like, okay, let's fight the smaller ones, and you focus on the big one, which is called the Heavy Drone B-33. There's a pretty nice pun in that name. It looks like B, get it? Alright, so before we take our leave from the Bee Kingdom, we are going to visit V's sister John and just take the bad book that's lying in her room. And then just say hi, and just say bye to her forever.
It's kind of funny. There's a huge amount of backstory there, where it's like, there's like a whole side quest we could do, where we try to make up, but you know, we don't have time for that. So, we just decide to be absolutely as rude as possible. Just kind of run in, steal one of her books, and then just leave.
I mean, we got a legendary plant to hunt for.
True.
But yeah, if you remember, like, us talking about entering cutscenes with specific characters, yeah, we're just gonna dash into them with Kabu now. Because it's just fast.
Yeah, everything kind of goes out the window now.
Yeah.
There are some things where we actually stop and, like, stop our dash and swap into cutscenes. Specifically when there's going to be battles, because it's faster to swap outside of battle than it is to swap inside of battle.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the time before battles, I'm gonna be swapping twice to put V in front. And alright, so the artifact that we got, there's a caveat with this artifact, and it's only half of the actual artifact. So we have to go back to the Lost Sands, because there's a little, like, mystery apparently in there. And also, next reroll game.
I was gonna say, yeah, our next reroll game is coming up right now.
Alright, let's see how many it takes. 1, 2. Alright, 2 that time. So we got a medal called Power Exchange, which, on the equipped bug, increases their attack by 1 in exchange for reducing their defense by 1. And also one thing that I kind of wanted to mention, but kind of forgot about, is what's cool about this game is, like, medals are basically like badges in Paper Mario, but in this game, you can actually, a lot of them you can equip to one of the 3 characters. So that creates a lot of, like, versatility in terms of like what you can do with your medal setups.
It opens up a lot for, like, build making.
Yeah, also we're gonna talk to that shady guy behind that building to pick up 2 spicy berries. They're spicy berries. Yeah, they're more expensive, but I mean they're faster for us, so.
Yeah.
And we
I love how
yeah.
the text says 16 berries, what a steal, when it's actually pricier, but just faster.
Yeah. We also cook them into spicy candies with bags of flour, which, in addition to the spicy berry effect of raising an ally's attack for 2 turns, it also restores 5 TP. So the TP restoration is nice, but also the thing with weak stomach is it only poisons an ally when you use a healing item on them, and the spicy berry is not a healing item, but the spicy candy is.
So we get an attack up effect, and we get the heal.
Yeah.
5 TP, which is useful for routing, but also extremely useful in terms of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, because it poisons. It actually poisons the ally that we use it on, which is pretty much what we want. So here we're going to get another medal called Strong Start, which on the equipped ally gives them an extra turn at the start of the fight, but the drawback is, remember how we were talking about exhaustion earlier? Turn. With that medal equipped.
I think it's actually every turn.
I thought it was just the first turn. But yeah, anyway. We're gonna utilize that medal, we're gonna utilize the extra turn that medal gives us to mainly, like, just gives us a free turn to use an item. And with turn relays, we can kind of mitigate the drawback of the exhaustion on the equipped ally increasing quickly.
Yeah, so it's basically just a free turn to us.
Yeah.
If you use it well enough, it's always a free turn.
Alright, so we are entering... so we bought like a rusty key from that guy in the well back in Defiant Route, but apparently what we just entered is the hideout of the bandits, who steal all of our items, including V's Beamerang. And the funny thing, well, there's a funny story about that. The current patch actually takes her Beamerang away from her, but in the previous patch, you could actually still throw it, which is funny. And also, Kabu, like... Kabu realizes that we can just dig out of the cell. Because apparently beetles are very good diggers.
Would have been useful before, like, we had to do a jailbreak, but you know.
Alright, so this is actually... This is actually one of the 2 stealth sections in the game. If we get spotted by any of these enemies, rather than fighting them, they will actually throw us back in the cell, so we have to be very careful here. And get a free dash along the way.
Context there is that that dash has caused a lot of problems for a lot of runners, but we just call it free.
Yeah, in particular the world record holder.
Yeah, I don't mind the dash too much. In fact, I'm probably the person who calls it free the most, but...
World record holder, who just said something in chat. Shout out to Corellius. Oh yeah, after getting all our items back, we just realized that, okay, now we can fight.
You can't fight it without a Beamerang.
Yeah, it's weird. Once you're past the stealth sections, we just randomly decide we could fight enemies again. So now we are going to fight the boss of these bandits, who's named Astothiles. And he has a pretty interesting gimmick that he doesn't actually allow you to use items. He's a real Smash Bros. Player. So we're going to need a pretty clever strategy here. So, remember Spiky Bob?
We're back to using that again.
Oh wow, he attacked Kabu.
So on every subsequent turn after the first one, we use Taunt. And what Taunt does is it's Kabu's first skill that he's given. And he just kind of does that, and Estocles gets mad and decides, I need to attack Kabu this turn.
Also, he's not being very nice. Every time he blocks, you have to hit him with Kabu to make him put it down, which is a little bit slow. He's gonna block again. Wow.
Yeah, that's some pretty bad RNG.
Also, nice block.
You do need to remember that Spiky Bod only works when you block.
Yeah. The fight isn't too hard, though. Alright, breaking up Empty again. So after we beat him, he asked us to, like, just pretty much just defeat him, but we basically just asked him for the key, and yeah, that's that. So now, yeah, that's that. So now we have the key to access the hidden secret in the Lost Sands, which, even though it looks like a desert, it's actually just a sandbox. We're also gonna fight these two Cactualings for XP. And from if you get a B-Boost spawn in the B33 fight, this is where the two, like, experience routes kind of intersect. So the experience route from here to the end of the run is gonna be the same.
Oh, this part.
Yeah. If you got a B-Boost spawn, you would fight the single Cactualing in the room before that. The room where I fought that Cactualing, which just consists of one Cactualing. Because that B-Boop gives us 15 extra experience, so we want to get 15 less experience from the fight that we do here. Alright, so we get ambushed by this giant scorpion called the Dune Scorpion, and it's basically just a 2-turn fight. Alright, we're through it, right?
Yeah, we're fine.
Or not.
Nope.
But hey,
we see something happening at least.
And also remember Zest? Well, he actually, like, saves us here. But yeah, we will see something going on with Leaf. His entire backstory will actually not be... Well, we actually won't be going into it in this run. And it's also big spoiler, so if you want to find it out, I recommend playing the game. Oh yeah, now, after that little ambush, now let's go into the secret of this Lost Sands area, which is a sandcastle. But not just any sandcastle. This is a sandcastle with, like, with some ice magic sorcery going on. And some no-cap S-tier music coming up. A kind of a number meme in our community. I mean, it is a good song, though. But it being, like, us calling it S-tier is kind of a meme.
Yeah, there was one point where we all, or at least most of us, I didn't, where most of us made tier lists of the different soundtracks in the game. And some people were pretty adamant about Sandcastle being S tier.
Light.
Shoutouts to Light.
Alright, I'm gonna try to go for very hard strat here. I don't expect to hit it, but it looks cool.
Just casually gets it. That is a very tight jump.
Yeah. Another strat that I'm 2 for 2 for marathons on.
And yeah, we respawn at the start of the room.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time as well, but it is a very tricky strat. It's a very tight jump. Something else I'm going to try to do here. And that is called the Indiana Jones jump. Alright, I'm not going to go for the fast cycle. There is, in addition to that very precise jump, there is a very tight cycle. So you can actually, like, skip this boulder cycle that I'm on and get a cycle earlier. And also, this screen you have to be very careful about, because this is actually the second floor of one of the screens we were on previously, and if you fall down there, you have to backtrack. And it's a huge time loss. Also, next curse room.
Interesting freeze there.
Yeah. But we are actually going to... We'll solve the puzzle to open the door, but also we're gonna refreeze... We're gonna refreeze them and do another cool pitch right here. Basically skip another part of the puzzle to get that key in the intended way.
Picking up our last necessary discovery here.
Yep. And in this room, there is a pretty cool skip.
Yes, it is known as Sister Skip because the world record holder, Corellius, his sister, found it.
Also, funny freeze time.
Ah, yes. There's some interesting freeze RNG here, where by skipping an equip, we now have to get 2 or more freezes to save time. Oh my gosh, yep.
Or you can just skip 3. You can
I did say 2 or more.
You can equip Power Exchange on Kabu, but after this fight you have to re-equip it on V, so this shred is called Equipless. So if you get at least 2 freezes on those wardens, each of them is a 55% chance to freeze, then you can beat the fight in 1 turn. Which happens a little bit more than half the time, actually. Okay, on to the next chapter boss, which has a pretty cool strat that I actually found pretty recently.
It also has a pretty cool track that sadly we get to hear less of if the strat succeeds.
Yeah. So, after that fight against the 3 wardens, we formed an attack called Frigid Coffin.
And I mean, this boss did just come out of the coffin, so I might as well put him back in 1.
And there's ice magic, so that's where the frigid part comes in.
Yeah,
it all makes sense now.
Yeah, it really sums up this strat well.
Nice, I got it. So by doing this, we actually skip his turn. So a cool thing about Frigid Coffin is, so there's like a couple parts to that move. The first is it does 2 more damage than at least normal attack. The second is it lowers the enemy's freeze resistance by 30%. And the third thing is if it does successfully freeze, it actually freezes the enemy for 2 turns instead of just 1. So we get both benefits of skipping his turn and doing the extra damage. There are a couple more fights where we will be using that move as well.
Also, throughout the run, the 3 times that we use it, it is a 55, 60, and 65% chance respectively. So it actually goes up in chance the 3 times that we use it. So hopefully a good outlook considering we got the least likely Frigid Coffin freeze.
Alright, so that's the last artifact, so we should be on pace to beat the game, right?
Definitely going to be well underestimated at this rate.
I'm about to bring the marathon back in schedule. I hope you guys thank me.
If only it was that easy.
Yep. Yep, apparently the Ant Kingdom is under attack. And surprise, it is the wasps who are responsible for this attack. And this is our first encounter with the Wasp King, who appears to be the leader of all these wasps. But, you know, he seems like a pretty strong opponent, so we're just gonna do nothing. He's about to use a really powerful attack, and oh no, I failed to block it! I took 99 damage. I guess the run's dead.
I gotta reset the run.
I guess the run's dead. But yeah, that fight is scripted. So he will always do that on the 3rd turn. Something funny is, in another category, 100%, we have an Abomination by the time we get to this fight, if you remember that item. And we just throw that Abomination instead of letting him heal us. It's kind of funny. Alright, so Kabu seems very upset about something. And also the artifact that we just got also got stolen, so we will have to chase some. We will have to chase the wasps in order to retrieve it. But we're going to turn in our bad book and also discoveries for 2 more crystal berries. And we're gonna get a bunch more crystal berries as well. Like, we're gonna undig that one, and we're actually gonna do something pretty funny here. That's one of my favorite parts of the run, just dashing into that music box repeatedly.
Yeah, it's actually faster with dash. That's why that used to be pretty early on, but we actually changed that in the route, just because it's faster with dash.
Also, our next and final reroll game is coming up. Three. Okay, I've already lost count. Also, that's a lot of rerolls. Alright, we just get another poison attack. That was 5. So, anyone want to guess my PB for that?
Oh god. I think the record for rerolls is 40 by
40.
Corellius.
Yeah. And I have the second worst. Oh my god, I made this joke in the Ever Marathon that I ran this at as well. But yeah, 40 is the record, and I think I have the second worst case of RNG with that particular reroll. I've had 22 before. If 40 gets beaten, I'll be so sad. Alright, so we're gonna cook our last spicy candies. And head on into the far grasslands.
We only need 3 more spicy candies. If you actually look at the progression of the route, we go from 5 spicy candies to 4 spicy candies to now top level runners do 3 spicy candies.
Yeah, beginner routes actually cook an extra spicy candy.
Oh, actually, wait. We didn't do 5 spicy candies. We did
It was 4 spicy candies
berries.
and a spicy berry.
Yes, that we then cook later on.
Also,
into a squash tart that we now skip.
Also, really nice music here that you don't really get to hear much.
Play the game, listen to the OST, admire these great soundtracks that you can hear very little snippets of in game.
I mean, if I wanted to, I could have just, fallen off there to give, the viewers at home, more time to listen to the song.
Sadly, not today.
Yeah, we are entering the wild swamplands. Which, this is an area that Kabu has actually been to before, but he doesn't have very good memories of it. Berry check. 79. That can't even get me the fastest loadout for what I'm doing with this route, but that's a lot still. So we get ambushed by these leaf bugs. Oh well, that's actually pretty good freeze RNG. So with these guys, every time they take every time one of them gets hit, the rest of the leaf bugs actually get +1 charge. So, but if you freeze them, it actually skips that animation. So the more you freeze, the less animation time you actually skip.
And it's a pretty slow animation.
Yeah.
So now we get to see a very jarring cutscene.
Yeah. The bridge collapses. Well, good thing V can fly, but, I mean, she just gets sniped.
Yeah.
So, now we are separated from Maki. Who, you didn't actually, see it, in this run, but whenever he's with you, he actually assists you in battle, and he's actually pretty powerful. But yeah, we got a rock here, so... Apparently Kabu can, actually destroy them. Apparently the lore behind that is, he just gets super angry, or, he can get super angry and he can just break anything. Also, shoutouts to the Skeleton for that strat. And also, there's a monster that just, like, walks by us, and...
Kabu gets very angry at the
Kabu
sight
gets
of this
very upset
monster.
at it. Yeah, because the lore behind it is... Kabu has went through this area before, he was part of another exploration team with two friends, Master and Bit. But that monster that walks... Yeah. That monster that walks by, basically killed both of them, and Kabu was the only one who was able to leave alive. So he kind of wants to avenge them. Also, pay very close attention here, because this is a very interesting skill. Very important skill. So you're not actually supposed... That switch is supposed to be like a shortcut, but we can actually just hit it early, like that, with a very precise beamering angle. Also, I don't think I'm getting... There's a pretty cool cycle that I found. I don't think I got it there, because I was a little bit slow pushing the ice block. It's a pretty tight cycle, followed by a very, very, very wild start of the first room here, where you freeze both that Leaf Bug Archer and the falling water droplet. And that Leaf Bug Archer did not levitate this time.
Yes. In the GDQ run that we had of this, in a GDQ hotfix, the Leaf Bug Archer just kind of started levitating while we were trying to explain how that cursed room worked.
Yeah, the particular hotfix show that I ran this at is called One and Doneathon. Also, you're supposed to be able to dash straight through here. Alright, that was weird. Alright. Anyway. In comes the beast. That's literally what this thing is called, apparently. It is literally the Pokemon Scolipede. And we're forced to fight into fighting it because Kabu really just wants to kill this thing. Alright, so after this second turn, I need to focus really hard. I need to block this attack. Oh no! We're taking 99 damage.
Come on, you can't miss your blocks like that.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm so bad at this game, man. But apparently Kabu has a Focus Sash equipped. So he lives with 1 health. And he's like, through sheer determination, he's like, I will defeat this thing.
And he does so by failing 2 of his attacks.
Yeah, how iconic. Oh yeah, Kabu gets scolded by Maki for his recklessness. And now we are going to be going to the Lost Kingdom to retrieve the stolen artifact, but unfortunately, due to the injury that Maki sustained earlier with that whole bridge incident, he actually can't join us. So he gives us... Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, they changed his sprite here so that he's leaning on his sword.
Oh.
Because his left leg was injured.
Alright, so... We actually have an important... This is actually an important mission to get the artifact, and we can't get caught. So... This is our... Or we can't let the Wasp see us, so this is our next stealth mission. If they see you, then you just have to restart the room. It's not as bad as getting caught by the bandits in the bandit hideout, because if you get caught by them, you get sent to the very first room. And yeah, doing some Eclipse here, and notice how I put the Strong Start on a Leaf instead of Kabu.
And all of the attacking items on Kabu.
Okay, so funny thing about this dungeon is when you're routing glitch categories, you have to be kind of careful because if you enter this place without dig, you get soft locked because you need dig to get through the area. Alright, so it's a pretty tight cycle I'm going to try to go for here. Nice. That is Driller Cycle.
That was a very clean Driller Cycle.
Yeah, and then after that, of course, we're just like, you know, we can fight these guys. Even though the room right before, like, we didn't want to let them see us, but now we're, like, apparently completely fine with them seeing us. I don't really understand it, but okay. And here we meet a janitor named Jade, who sells a pretty neat healing item, exclusive healing item called the Jade Stew, which only costs 7 berries, but heals 7 HP and 7 TP. But unfortunately, even though it's a really good deal, we unfortunately aren't going to be buying into it in this run.
Yeah, it was sadly routed out, despite being probably one of the best items.
If you're doing a more the Inferno route, you actually do get that item. But not in the route that I'm doing, which is basically the route used by top runners, which doesn't have too many differences from the beginner route, and it's about a 30-second to a minute difference depending on what your beginner route is. There's a couple different routes you can do for like near the end game of this run.
The relay menuing the Kabu up front here does get a bit weird, but Jake handling it just fine.
Yep, we just dashed through a bunch here. And also, we just like hit him we just hit him to the ground. So that is General Ultimax. Or you can call him, or his real name is General Fuff. And this is Queen Vanessa II, who's actually the true ruler of the Wasp Kingdom, who was actually usurped by the Wasp King. So there's actually like an entire like backstory with the Wasp King that you actually see in a pretty recently released art book DLC for the game.
Which I bought but still haven't fully read through.
Yeah. And basically, it's just like what it is also this is a very long cutscene. What it is the Wasp King managed to get so powerful that all of the wasps just like he basically brainwashed all of the wasps to do his bidding. And also, unfortunately, he takes all of our artifacts because, like, he basically like just endangers everyone here and gives the queen the dilemma to either hand over all the artifacts or just get killed. So she basically just saves us all, and she actually tells us the real reason why she wants the sapling. Yeah, so the reason why she wants a sapling is her mother, Queen Elizabeth I, isn't actually dead. She's still alive, but she's just in a coma, and she wants the Everlasting Sapling to restore the rule of her mother, because she seems like our current queen is very insecure as a ruler.
Alternatively, the big plot reveal is that she has green eyes.
Yep. Okay, so the next area that we were trying to go to is, we know where the sapling is, and it is in the Giants Lair, which is a very mysterious area, and the only way to get to it is through the rubber prison, but it's actually across the water, and we don't have any way to cross the water.
Then we need help from the termites and their technology.
Yeah.
However, we don't really have the best foreign relations in the Ant Kingdom with the Termite Kingdom, so we're going from explorers to diplomats.
Yeah. And also, I dug up those items called, in the Lost Kingdom and outside the Association, I dug up, some items called Dark Cherries, which, sell for a lot of money. They sell for 50 each. Alright, so this is the Forsaken Lands, and this area is kind of like Forever Forest in Paper Mario, in which if you go the wrong way, the correct path is actually like marked by like human objects, but if you go the wrong way, you end up at the start. But like, I don't remember how to get through this area. Do you remember how to get through this area, Cyan?
No, I mean, I actually, okay. Jokes aside, I actually do know how to get through this area, and I found it funny when I put through in the 100% route, go through this area as intended, everyone asked me what's the intended way.
Oh yeah, also, say hello to the most broken variation of ability jumps. So, V, at this point has no choice but to fly. And we can combine that with jumps to fly higher than we're supposed to, so we just skip this entire area. Also, a little boss here called the Primal Weevil. You have to be very careful with menuing here because
this is also the only time in the round where we could potentially mismenu Leap's break skill, which lowers defense. We didn't really touch on that, but it's kind of the idea of a Burly Bomb, but just costs 2 TP and it's just on Leaf's skills at all time. And it's always at the bottom, except for this fight because we have the Queen, and she gives us the ability to use Royal Decree, which is under that. It's the only time that we have to menu 2 up for break.
It's a pretty good attack casually. It raises your entire party's attack and defense, but it costs a lot of time for us to use it in the speedrun. This is the only time where it's a problem, though, because usually break is at the very bottom, but when you have Royal Decree, that's the move that's on the bottom instead. So that was the Primal Weevil. That boss can actually summon a regular Weevil, which are, if you remember them from like Golden Path, I don't really know how to explain them, but it's just a time loss.
They're interesting animals. But yeah, we lose a bit because of just XP and being able to, like, we have to fight it.
Yeah, it doesn't actually like break the XP route. It just costs about 15 seconds or so.
You may have just seen there, we just bought a bunch of the same exact item. So, we have found our Mega Rush TM. It's actually Mega Dash Rush trademark. And it is not a medal. It is a consumable item that boosts attack and gives a charge, but after a few turns, the user gets so drained out that they actually have attack down. After that point in time. After the attack up, it becomes an attack down. The interesting thing is, because it gives the charge, it is marked internally as a healing item.
Yep.
Definitely shouldn't be that way, but we're glad that it is because that means we can use it with weak stomach. So now, when V gets poisoned, we have, let's go through all our attack buffs.
Yep.
We have 2 poison attackers. We would get 1 attack up from the Mega Rush. We would get another attack up from Power Exchange. And we would get another attack up from the charge for the first attack. Has come together.
Yeah, we're gonna
And
use
for the,
we're
yeah,
gonna use
for the
this
rest of
item in
this
like
run.
every fight from now on.
yeah, it just becomes broken.
Yeah, it's broken. And like the attack down isn't really a problem because none of the fights really last long enough for it to become an issue.
You can even see this is so broken that we don't even need Leaf's turn here.
Yup. We're about to see another instance of stupidly high attack power in this next fight. But yeah, if you haven't noticed, V's multi-hit skill is kind of like the Yoshi Kid in the 1,000-Year Door. They're kind of like power bounce, where every like attack buff you give her like applies to each individual hit. So yeah, there I only needed 3 hits of a tornado toss to defeat Poi there on the back. And here's another rank up. So something about the route is our XP route is super tight, and the reason it's so tight is for this upcoming fight here. We want the rank up for the heal for this fight specifically, which is apparently against the Primal Weevil. I mean, we just beat it.
We didn't need more than 16 TP for that fight.
Wait, didn't we fight these guys as well?
A while ago, but they're stronger now.
So spoilers, this is the 60% Frigid Coffin freeze.
And if he doesn't freeze, things go off the rails very quickly.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough.
Ah.
Alright, I'm gonna try this backup. I've actually never done this backup before, but this is a backup that I think Pladge came up with. It's a really slow backup, but it should be, like, pretty safe. Oh, that's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, that's definitely really scary.
Alright, so we're gonna taunt again. I think I should only need 2 turns to beat him. Okay, he's just gonna taunt. Fine.
Battle of the taunts going on here.
Oh yeah, something funny about like Zasp on hard mode is that taunt attack he can use multiple times.
Yeah, back in Chapter 2 is when we actually fight Zasp in hard mode. Luckily this fight is not in hard mode, but there's a clip of the Skulton in his first 100% run where he gets triple taunted, and is one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah.
Because he had just reset the fight, he was complaining about RNG, and then gets triple taunted, which is the only time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, the most I've seen happen to me is double.
Yeah, I have seen 1 double in my lifetime.
But yeah, taunt is pretty scary, especially in that first fight. Basically what it does is the character that is affected by the taunt can only attack. They can't use items.
They can't even...
Yeah,
they can't relay.
They can't relay, they can't use items, they can't use skills, and they also cannot be relayed too. One of the medals in this game, called the Berserker medal, gives you like a similar status, but in addition to all those drawbacks, you cannot block with that character. But it gives them +3 attack.
there have been some people who tried to route stuff with it, but overall does not end up being faster.
Yeah. It's a really cool meta one concept, but it's very restrictive. Alright, so so we have a way to cross the water now. And it's a pretty nice little meme in the community, but before going there, we're gonna buy some bombs. Specifically burrowing bombs. And now, it's time to board the subaquatic maritime Neo transport.
It's a meme in the community. The routes always have that in like all caps, red highlighted.
And it was like,
So,
yeah. And we like to do that little like ASMR thing. Or some of us do. I mean, I do it, and another brother named the Plage also does it.
yes. And I do it as well,
yeah.
I remember.
This same brother actually came up with an alternative route for Glitchless.
Yes, I did mention that earlier.
Yeah.
The route where you fight
Or I don't know if it's
Arya with Goblin Leaf.
I don't know if it's him who came up with it, or if it was just because he was known for doing it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
He's known for popularizing it, but some of the strats that are tagged in with the route were not found by him.
Alright, so this is Rubber Prison. There's a lot of really crazy movement strats, and a pretty interesting route we're gonna take through this dungeon. I hope you guys like fly jumps.
There's a lot of them.
So I want to explain like the timing of fly jumps, because the timing of your fly jump actually affects how high you go.
Yes. So, fly jumps, since fly is a hold B move, you have to hold B and then press A at the right time. And there's a bunch of different frame windows. So some specific fly jumps, it's like this one upcoming right here, left side skip, LSS, is frame perfect, as far as we know. Might be a 2-frame window, but it's tough.
Well, it's dependent on how good your coyote jump is as well, so it's kind of hard to tell like exactly how tight it is. There's another cool shot I'm going to try to do here as well. I messed up the throw. Alright, my strat is a little bit risky though, because if you hit that switch from the outside, you actually lock yourself out. Thankfully that did not happen. What I was trying to do there was kind of like a respawn strat. And so the entire theme with this dungeon is there are these like history books. There's 4 of them in total that we have to collect. And we got some equips we gotta do here, because this is the interesting route we're gonna take to this dungeon. We're gonna fight this particular enemy.
Because he's got a key. As we saw in his sprite for a minute there.
Oh, whoops. I've been feeling that a lot recently. Okay, so that is, it is possible to hit both enemies in this fight without Understrike, but it's very tight. An alternative safer strat you can do is to use Dasher and a regular attack. It is important though that we only use 5 TP in total, because one of the honey drop that we bought is going to be used here, and that is faster than healing with the with a Venus Bud, which we will find after this dungeon.
So an interesting routing thing is that we're actually going through this dungeon completely unintentionally.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the intended way to complete this dungeon. We're doing so many rooms out of order. The reason why is because this lock right here, if we were to open that first, there would be like no way out. So we would actually be soft locked. So they gave an enemy outside a key and basically said, here, take this, so that way the players can't get soft locked. So we used that very much to our advantage to do this dungeon in some very interesting ways.
Yeah. Like, there's like an entire gym area in that, like in the room where I was just at, like to the left. There's like an entire gym area that does have a key. We just completely skipped that. And also in this room, we will get the last of the books, and the puzzle is like the text in these books is actually like the puzzle. It's basically like the beginning text, but we just like remember the order by like the color that we put them in.
Or just the inputs.
Yeah. It was 2 up, then 1 up, I think. Yeah, after we rotate this this crank, it's actually gonna cause this bridge to collapse, which I mean, it has some pretty questionable ethics, but okay.
And now we enter the boss of this dungeon,
Yeah.
which is definitely a very fun and interesting boss.
It's an Ultimax. It's Ultimax, but he has a tank. Which is cheating.
According to me, at least.
I think we might question like how he's able to like drive this thing.
Or how it got here, because it just kind of dropped from the sky.
Yeah. Alright, so this fight can actually be a little bit spooky, but luckily it's not so spooky anymore. Because once Ultimax is out of his tank, he will slap a character, and because V has -1 defense,
it actually does damage.
those slaps normally do 1 damage 3 times, but because V has decreased defense, she takes 2 damage. It does 2 damage 3 times instead. So that fight can be spooky,
unblocked.
and yeah, if you end up having V die, it's a huge time loss. Luckily that did not happen.
And now we are entering the final chapter of the game.
Not before getting the Lost Kingdom's treasure, the Flame Brooch, from Queen Vanessa, which apparently has the ability to protect the holder from powerful fire magic. Or like
At least partially.
Yeah,
it's
partially.
not full protection, but we won't get 99 again.
Yeah. Alright, so this is the Giants Lair. Unfortunately, because of like the I guess the unfamiliar area of this area, she can't actually like proceed anywhere past us. And also there are like these really creepy abominations. Like just everywhere. That are literally just called Deadlanders. They are extremely powerful, so you do not want to get into fights with them. They basically have stats of mini bosses. Aw, man. That's a very tricky jump. If you time it right, you actually won't encounter that Deadlander, but it is quite tight, and it also needs a really well-timed fly jump. And also here, there's something very interesting here. There's a red crystal. It's the only red crystal in the game, and it just heals your entire party without saving. Alright, so there's this very... We're in front of this very cool machine, but we get ambushed by 3 Deadlanders. So this is a pretty cool strat that involves use of a Burly Bomb. Which saves quite a bit of time, actually. Because it actually lowers all of their defense, and all these Deadlanders do have defense.
That attack is pretty scary because if you don't block it, V will go to sleep. Which means she'll heal for a few turns, but you know, not really too good when we need her to be awake to attack.
Good thing we have Maki, though. Alright, here's our final rank up of the run. Or like, not necessarily not the final one, but the final one that actually really matters. Because our XP route happens to rank up on the final boss. Alright, so what are we going to ascend a fridge? And yeah, we're not doing this the intended way at all. We're doing a lot of fly jumps here. And another cool kit
this is an interesting movement tech. This is not the intended way to complete any of this. We just kind of use fly jumps and are just moving. We're schmoving at this point.
Alright, so we actually encounter some roaches, who are basically like the ancestors of Bugkind, but apparently, like, apparently we're still living, and they apparently live in the Giants Lair. They like brave the dangers of like all the Deadlanders to protect their treasured everlasting sapling. And right now they're actually not wanting to let us pass. So we're gonna need to do some convincing.
Do we have 8 or 9 Mega Rushes?
I think we have 8, so I'll have to buy an extra item here.
Okay. I was a little confused. I thought we actually got 9.
Also, Leaf has like if you do Leaf side quests, the dialogue for that cutscene is actually different. Alright. So we're gonna buy a bunch of backups here. So the dialogue is actually different if you did Leaf's cutscene. But we're still able to convince the Roach Elder to let us pass. But apparently the Lost King has said the entire place of ways. That is not the strat. Alright, there's 2 different strats you can do here, depending on whether or not you bought a 9th Mega Rush. There's another strat that uses Mega Rush on Leaf and does 2 Ice Falls. But here we just Ice Fall and do some dash throughs, which isn't too much slower. And really, unless you have a stupid amount of berries, that 9th Mega Rush isn't really worth going for.
It is fast if you can't afford it, though.
Yeah. Alright. So that is a trick called the J-Fly, which uses some like really interesting collision with that rock. Discovered by J-Cog. And here is basically the final curse room of the run.
Yeah, this is the final curse room game.
Yeah, so you have to get this ice block all the way over to the switch over yonder. And ice blocks in these, like, platforms don't like to play very well with each other. Oh god, what is this?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, getting it on the edge is really scary. Oh, that's tough. Alright.
Oh no.
That's fine. That's not fine. Alright. It could go worse. It's actually very easy to, like, just push the ice block off the edge.
Yeah, then you gotta reset the entire puzzle.
I am getting some really bad angles here. I'm gonna wait here. I'm not risking anything. Alright, curse room does me in. Unfortunately. But now we are just going to... We're gonna turn these burners off to allow everyone to pass.
Turn off the oven.
Why do they call it oven? When you oven the cold food about hot, eat the food.
Something like that. Oh, yes, Leaf just kind of flies there. There's some interesting things with followers getting just some interesting amount of speeds from the spinning of the oven dials.
Yeah. Alright. Here's the final boss of the game.
Kinda.
No, it's the final boss.
Yes, it is the final boss.
It is Mr. Funny Man himself. So a meme is that we like to call this guy the Funny Man because he can be pretty funny. And this is our last fight that we're going to be using Frigid Coffin on. It's a 65% free chance.
You know, for the final boss not even having any defense, this fight does kind of feel pretty easy sometimes.
Yeah, so we're just going to be doing a bunch of tornadoes. Oh, we're on fire, that's fine.
Just a small time loss.
Alright. Let's hope he freezes. If this freeze fails, it's actually pretty spooky, because he'll actually let himself go twice. Nice. Yeah, he can do some pretty wild things. Like, he can heal, and he could possibly kill V. And yeah,
Which spawned a meme once.
Yeah.
Because in one of my earlier, one of my runs when I was just starting to learn the game, I asked what happens if he doesn't freeze, and was basically told, just hope that he doesn't heal and kill V, and then he immediately healed and killed V.
Yeah. Okay, so here is, that was apparently not the final boss. He's going to... So this is the Everlasting Sapling, but apparently it's wilted, but he's just gonna eat it anyway. Oh yeah, incoming banger as well. So this is another fight that has a chart. Shoutouts to Ash for making this chart. This is a strat that... This final boss actually has 3 scripted phases. So you can't really... You can only beat him in like 3 turns minimum, but there is a very absurd strat that allows you to beat this boss in 3 turns, potentially. Which is pretty crazy.
It's on the potentially.
Yeah.
It's about a 40% chance if you perfect block everything.
Yep. Alright, let's see what happens here. Alright, Bud is kind of what you want to see. So here is the next phase. We're just going to do a bunch of hurricanes. And this will get him into his third phase, which is also his most dangerous phase. Normally, you would actually use Bubble Shield on V, and that will protect her from damage this turn, but V is very vulnerable here, because he's going to summon 2 keys, and he can do a very powerful attack. And he's going to do it. Funny Keyblade. Alright, there's nothing you can do about that. Unfortunately. Oh, it's actually possible to hit all those keys with the Understrike, so this is a backup I'm gonna do. Gee, that was so scary.
Gosh. Did you have to awesome block one of those?
Yes!
Oh no.
Okay, let's see what happens here. Alright, that's fine. Alright, so that's not the ideal fight, but we still got through it.
This is 3-turn quickly becomes 5-turn.
Yeah.
Things don't go as planned.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna mash for the rank up here, and we have beaten the Everlasting King, but it isn't time yet. There's some cutscenes and a little bit of movement at the end. But time will come up when, or like after that movement, there's gonna be another cutscene that plays. And then, when the fade-out starts to the credits, that's when time is. So sorry, you got, any last things you want to say?
Not really. I mean...
Irvin, like, thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. If you are at all interested by anything you have seen during this run, feel free to check out the Bug Fables speedrun server. If you go to speedrun.com/bug_fables, there is a link to the Discord on there. And I hope you enjoyed the run.
Yep.
How about you, Jay? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me streaming on twitch.tv/Jankmo_O. I stream... sometimes I stream torrents of this game, but I've been branching off a little bit more into... Like, I speedrun other games, I speedrun Super Meat Boy, and I also speedrun Celeste. But I kinda do want to get back into running this game, because it is a very fun game to run. Yeah, we're gonna go through a graduation ceremony, and this cutscene will play, and time will be when there's gonna be like a white fade out, and time will be when the fade out goes from white to black. So we're basically just congratulated from saving all of Bugkind from the Lost Kingdom. So now the Lost King is now freed from the tyranny of the Lost King. And time.
That's Bug Fables.
Yep. That is Bug Fables and 100% Glitchless. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks for having me.
Guys. So you guys actually have any more shoutouts you want to give out before we go off into the final intermission or the finale? finale for the stream?
Yeah, mostly shoutouts to the Bug Fables community. Shoutouts for Cyan for being here and helping with commentary. And, like, everyone in the Bug Fables community is, like, really amazing, but... yeah, a couple people like Corellius, White, Fladge, and Marlowe, Elu, and Ash. There's a lot of people in the name, but that's who I can remember off the top of my head, so...
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. Thank you, Indiethon, for having us. And that's all I've got.
Okay, I guess then we'll transition into the finale when we get to that point.